Well, House Democrats wasted no time in getting the impeachment show or showdown started. A representative from Los Angeles area called Brad Sherman, Democrat, California's 30th congressional district, introduced House Resolution 13, impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. So far, only one co-sponsor, Al Green, not the good one, the singer, but the congressman, has signed on. And this bill of impeachment has one article. It's basically alleging that Donald Trump, and I'll quote now from it, has prevented, obstructed, and impeded the administration of justice during a federal investigation. And it goes on to discuss the investigation regarding the former National Security Advisor, General Michael Flynn, and Trump basically putting brakes on or trying to stop that investigation. I think the best person who's discussed this has been Alan Dershowitz, and as he'll tell you, the president cannot commit an obstruction of justice of this type of investigation because the very decision to engage in that investigation is an executive level decision. It's a political decision made by the executive, and guess who's in charge of the executive branch of government? Well, you guessed it. It's the President of the United States, Donald John Trump. I guess that argument's not terribly compelling to so many of the new Congress because they can just pick a new impeachable thing out of the air. It's like, how do I hate thee? Let me count the ways. One of the new freshman congresswoman, the proud Muslima Rashida Tlaib, who identifies as a socialist and a Palestinian, listed her reasons for impeachable offenses, including obstruction of justice, the emoluments clause, the pardon power abuse, directing or seeking law enforcement to prosecute political adversaries for improper purposes, and undermining equal protection, ordering the cruel and unconstitutional imprisonment of children and their families at the southern border, and, of course, conspiring to illegally influence the 2016 election. Congresswoman Tlaib made early headlines for calling the president an MFer and said, we're going to impeach him on the night of her inauguration. Now, I wouldn't care if she said vulgar language if she were libertarian, so I certainly don't care about it because she is a socialist. But I think it's important to remember that one of the reasons why we were told Donald Trump couldn't be president of the United States was because of his vulgar language. And Donald Trump's vulgar language, you'll recall, was captured in a 2005 recording on a television set and was only discovered after NBC News scoured their archives of Trump audio recordings recorded for their entertainment purposes to find any outtakes that could be damaging. And then the NBC actually held that story and didn't release it because they thought the news executives thought it would be not damaging enough. So they wanted to wait till further on in the election process before they released it. And somebody who knew about it leaked it to the Washington Post, who then contacted NBC News, and then they rushed the release out. And we can juxtapose that with Ms. Congressperson's Rashida Tlaib's outburst calling Donald Trump an MFer and saying that we're going to impeach him at a public bar on the night of her inauguration. We don't seem to see the same standard for Ms. Tlaib. In any case, I'm happy to have her vulgar language if her governance was sound. The problem that presents itself is that it seems like it's not likely to be. Here she is on NPR.
What do you say to those who say, why not wait for the Mueller investigation to conclude and come out with its findings before moving to try to attempt to impeach the president?
Yeah, look, the Constitution demands me as a member of Congress to hold him accountable. This is beyond the Mueller investigation. I don't think American people understand even the decision not to open up government. Is it because it's the best interest of the American people, or is it because it has something to do with his corporations and his businesses? Because he hasn't, as the president of the United States, he has not divested in all of his companies and corporation here or abroad. And so a lot of the decisions being made out of the White House, out of the President of the United States office, could be made because it's a for-profit, because it's in the best interest of his companies and the bottom line, not the best interest of the American people.
If you consider the breadth of what she just said there, it's pretty breathtaking. The first thing that she references is even the decision that she says to not open the government. So what that means is by Trump refusing to agree to the spending terms that the Congress is willing to put up, that executive decision itself deserves scrutiny in the Congress for potential impeachment proceedings. You think about what that means, what the mechanics of that would be. It would be great to get some of these Democrat senators who are clearly running for president, like Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, to weigh in on how much access the Congress should have to presidential decision-making in all its forms. I mean, that's, of course, if you're interested in consistency, which I doubt that they are, but we could ask Elizabeth Warren. She just, she's one of the few who has officially thrown her hat into the ring with her exploratory committee. This is what the legacy media had to say about her candidacy.
Gender politics. No sooner had Elizabeth Warren all but announced for president.
Hello, Sioux City!
Then we began to see stories like this somehow suggesting Warren, like Hillary Clinton, is too unlikable to win. The debate over different treatment women get on the presidential campaign trail.
Oh, sorry. We are not going to ever be getting away from the gender and identity politics, it looks like. The different treatment that women get. Now, do you recall the treatment that Donald Trump got about the jokes about his hair, his skin color, his weight, his hand size, and the implications thereof regarding his manhood? He was savaged by the mainstream press for these things, and it's generally a hands-off policy on these things for people who are pro-state politicians, often Democrats. Well, if there weren't double standards, they'd have no standards at all.